Looking back over 6 decades of living, I've come to cherish some individual lessons that have guided me on my journey. So as I look back at a lifetime of experiences and all the things that I am absolutely filled with gratitude about, I just have so many lessons that I've learned. So I have this reflection that I'm putting together as I turn 60. It's a great milestone. I love my life and I love what it's become, and I love everything that has forged me and the paths I've gone down and all of the things that have absolutely presented themselves as just gifts. I've really tried to lead a meaningful life. The meaningful life really kind of is along the lines of like purpose and love and connection. But I've also discovered it's about praying and serving and evangelizing. I've loved it. And I've loved who I've become. And that's really what it's about, really, in the end. And I have a lot of years to still do that. But my marriage to Shirley, I tell people marriage isn't for the faint of heart. It's not always pretty. For sicker and for poorer, and it's really in the vows of marriage for a reason. Your spouse should be your best friend along with that awesome lover. Nothing comes between you. Not anyone, not no one. Should not let anyone come between you and your marriage. And I tell people now, get married in the church. The church is an actual gift to marriage. And so many people have defaulted along the way of getting married in the church and gotten married in all the various, city halls and golf courses and on the side of a mountain. But I can tell you what I have discovered, and I think what Shirley would say is the Holy Spirit has been with us through our whole marriage because it enveloped us when we got married in the church. We felt it. My children, Hannah, Abby, and Cam, I have unconditional love for them. And I know they have unconditional love for me. You can't trade that for anything. I'd protect them with my life. I'd take a bullet for my family. But you raise them, you nurture them, you educate them, and then you got to let them fly. And that's the beautiful thing. I've had a sibling. I miss her. She's not with me anymore. Her or her husband, and I miss them both tremendously. But she was the only person that I've known the longest in my life. And most siblings will be that person to you. So remember to cherish them, because they actually are you, just like you. They're half of your parents. And sometimes we lose them way too early. So hug them with everything you've got and tell them how much you love them. My mom, something I'm beginning to realize, we shared blood. When she was pregnant, we shared oxygen and we shared blood. And she carried me for 9 months. And for that, I love her and I do honor her. Dad, he has many faults, but he also has great wisdom. It's weird. How can he have both? But I'll miss his insights. When he's gone, the unique insights that a dad gives a son along the way really cannot be measured. And I'll miss him like you can't imagine. Our family really encompasses what it should be first externally for us outside of our immediate family of marriage and our own children. Too many families break up over just the stupidest of things. And you really need to come back together to appreciate the bloodlines of your family. So what does it mean with family? Obviously it's siblings. Obviously it's grandparents, your aunts and your uncles, your cousins, all of them. Blood bonds that should not be broken. Dogs. What have I learned about dogs? I love dogs. I have loved my dogs. I've had many of them. And the things that they have taught me has been unbelievable. And the awareness that they bring to what is truly life has been immeasurable. You know, a long walk, a ball to play with, 2 meals a day, just a comfortable place needed to sleep. Really, that's all they need. And they always provide unconditional love back. What about friendships? You know, make friends for a lifetime. You need to make friends in all of the various stages of your life. Everything from when you're a child, all the way through to when you're older and you've had a career and you've raised your kids, and all the relationships and friendships you've made along the way. And then the friendships that you'll have even after that. It's so important. And they're all different. They're all special and they're unique. But remember to reconnect with old friends at times. It's so important to rekindle old friendships whenever you can, especially when they least expect it. That's a very special gift. You know, maturity. Something that I've learned that we all go through is basically 3 steps of maturity. You've got physical maturity that we go through early in our life, all the way through our teenage years and up into our 20s. And then somewhere an overlap of mental maturity comes in. And mental maturity obviously lasts for a good segment of the middle part of our lives, but then it also sets in for most people later in life is spiritual maturity. It's really an interesting dynamic that as you mature, spiritual maturity becomes really a focus. And I think it's really interesting how that happens. Maybe it's just because we're not mature enough to really understand it. But it is like a 3-legged stool. If one of those things falls out, the stool will fall over. It's important to have that 3rd leg. What have I learned about work and employment? I just retired this past year. You know, work is not a career. It's really just a means. And a career, really at the end of the day, is it really going to matter what you did in your career when you really look at your life going backwards? Not really. People aren't going to really be interested in learning about your career. They're going to learn about the other things. But you know what comes along with work and employment is money. You know, money really, though, is only a means to achieve and have the things that you want so that you can buy things, obviously, the things you need, but also to give back. Make sure and give back. You can have a lot of money and you can buy a lot of things, but ultimately that's not true happiness. And remember, you'll never have enough. So don't wait to do the things that you want to do until you have enough money. Don't wait to get married. Don't wait to have kids until I have enough money. Don't wait to travel. Travel while you're young, while you have the money. Investments. You know what I've also learned is invest early. Use the compounding power of money early in life, and you'll do very well. Don't wait too long. You can get to a quicker retirement if you start saving early. So take advantage of your company's 401k plans, especially if they have a really good company match. And take full advantage of that to be able to start building your wealth sooner rather than later. Credit. You know, credit is something that you should only use at your advantage. It shouldn't be a crutch. Credit can be a very helpful tool, but it can also be an unbelievable life destroyer. So be very careful with it. Make sure that you're using credit to buy the things that you really need. Big things though, not groceries, not just frivolous things, but you'll obviously have to apply for credit a lot of times to buy a house, especially based on where you live. So take full advantage of that. But to use credit to buy a home. So what's a home? Well, a home should be a place that's comfortable, but not extravagant. It doesn't need to be extravagant. This is what I've learned over time. Just comfortable, warm and cozy, especially in the wintertime, cool in the summertime, best as possible. and always welcoming. A place to lay your head, but also a place for other people to lay theirs. I think one thing I've also learned is go with your instincts. God gave them to us for a reason, and also we need to just use our common sense. You develop that. Go with that gut feeling that you've earned. It won't let you down. Really not ultimately in the long run. Also, don't make decisions based on emotion.
You know, there are some other reflections that I've just found I keep using on my life as I have come along that I think I want to throw out here. So here he goes. Don't make bad decisions based on emotions. There's too many people in the world that are making decisions based on how they feel and not really how they think or acting on those emotions. No matter where you go, there you are. I've also learned that gratitude is everything. It really is. And like the song says, God is great, but beer and coffee are good. And people are really crazy. You know, a nice steak, a baked potato, some roasted Brussels sprouts, and a good glass of red wine just make everything perfect. And top it all off with a good slice of key lime pie. Preferably on a beach. Yeah, I'll take the beach over the mountains any day. I grew up in these mountains. I love the mountains. But man, I have this desire and a draw to go to the beach. Whenever I can go. I love the beach. Maybe it's the Greek in me. You know, you should travel while you're young enough. Not wait until you get old. I'm 60 years old and I'm really just starting to kick into the really fun travel of my life. Where we're doing pilgrimages and really fun getaways with very special people, and I'm just loving it. Of course, I wish I had done it earlier, but had families and jobs and finances and the whole thing that we had to be considerate of, but now's the time to be doing these really fun pilgrimages that we're doing and travel, preferably to the beach. You know, have a purpose with a plan. I know I keep touching on this, but there really is a need for a blueprint in our life as early as you can establish it. That's a key. We have to evolve, and we have to learn to adapt. It's another key component to what I've learned over the years. Always learn something new and make a new friend. I used to tell my kids that when they were younger, and I tell even little kids today what we get to interact with, and it's so true. So true. Always look to learn something new, and always look to make a new friend. I've won more than I've lost. I've gained so much, and I've loved so much. Way more. 1,000 times more than anything that I've lost. And I always try to remember that. You know, with faith and religion, I'd rather live life as if there is God. And I guess to die to find out that there isn't. Really than to live my life as if there isn't a God. Only to find out at the end that there is. I don't want to have to be reconciled on that day to the fact that I didn't look at it right. You know, you also learn more from suffering than you ever do from pleasure. Embrace the storm. Keep your eyes focused on Him. Can get you through anything. Don't pay attention to what's going on out here. Stay focused on Him. But also remember to put on the full armor of God. Gird your loins. Be a warrior. You know, pride and envy definitely will kill your soul. It's humility and charity that we will really build our life on. Faith, redemption, and salvation. Really, that's what it'll save us in the end. You know, I've said it for a long time too, and I've tried to apply it to my kids, but either we're born into this world as an old soul, or we're built into this world as a new soul. When we can figure that out, and as the earliest that we can figure that out, the decisions in your life will make a lot more sense. Life is a series of seasons. Winter to spring, to summer, until fall. And then it comes all the way back around again. But one thing I've also learned is pendulum swing. Everything comes back around, just like the seasons, but it also swings. And if it swings way over here, it'll swing way back over here again at some point in our life. Multiple times through our lives. You just have to know what you're looking out for when the pendulum swings. And sometimes the pendulum moves, but the pendulum definitely swings. One thing I've also learned is you don't have to win every battle to win the war. But there's a lot of truth to that. Don't be fixated on just the battle. Fixate on what you need to do to win the war. You know, no one on their deathbed wishes that they worked more or that they made more money. They don't. They're going to wish, and you will wish, that you had more time to love and to be loved. Figure out if you're a hunter or if you're a gatherer. That will tell you everything that you should be in life, what you should aspire to be in life, and really where you're going to go in your life. You know, happiness is a choice. And by embracing gratitude, living in the present, and cherishing this journey, I have found that there is a deep and abiding joy that will transcend all of our circumstances. Not a doubt. I do not believe that it's a mistake to talk about politics and religion. These two things are intertwined as much as people don't want to admit it. And it's far too important to deal with these things head on and talk to each other about them rather than just bury our heads in the sand. These things aren't going to go away. And the long-term impact sometimes that we're going to have on us can be great. But at least if we talk to each other, one person can tell five, those five can tell five, and then you've got a movement. Growing up in the 1970s and 80s, I think was the greatest time. The music, the rock music, it's like no other. You know, the technology changes that we got to see over a short period of time that came at us so fast. It does seem like it's slowed down a bit. They're more software related than they are hardware related, but at that time, man, we saw so much. And it really was kind of the last age of our innocence. We weren't sheltered or enabled. We weren't. We adventured and we found trouble. We stayed out until the lights came on and it was getting dusk, and we learned to fly. And we learned so many lessons. You know, I hope these reflections inspire others to live with purpose, to have a plan, to serve with compassion, and to embrace the journey with all of its ups and downs. It's been an unbelievable 60 years. And I'm looking forward to the next 60. Peace.